joining me. Introduce yourself.
My name is Chelsea Marcantel, and I am a playwright, and I live in Virginia.
A while back, I wrote a post on abundance and how, I don't remember the quote I used, but it was something about how like my own abundance doesn't negate anyone else's. But then, and I go on to say how like there's room in the world for everyone to write the great American novel.
Right.
Like that's why there's a lot of books, and I have lots of favorites. Or there's room for 20 people to be great, successful singers or dancers. You don't have to like to destroy people or have such negative competition with one another. Like there can be 20 great plays. I will want to go see them all.
And I think that the jealousy and the conflict starts when you allow some external circumstance to determine whether or not you think you've made something good. Like if you apply to some contest or you send your book off to a publisher and they only choose one out of hundreds and not yours, that doesn't mean that what you submitted wasn't fantastic and wasn't sincere and wasn't worthwhile. It just means that for whatever one of the thousands of reasons they did what they did, yours wasn't the one picked. And I think that if you start thinking that what you create is only worthwhile if someone else gives you external validation, that's when it becomes really bitter, and that's when it becomes really competitive. And I realize that we live in a world of limited resources, and we all like to write a bestseller so we can quit our day jobs. But if what you want is to be rich, then you're in the wrong profession.
Yeah.
The point is not, the end game shouldn't be anything that is measured by someone other than yourself.
I was asking a group of kids like what they wanted from their life, what they wanted to accomplish, and one of them said, "I just want to make a bunch of money." And I remember thinking, like, not to say that abundance or wealth isn't a legitimate value, but I was just like, okay, then what though? Like, say, okay, you have that pile of 1 million or 100 billion. I don't think that's actually what you want. I think I mean, there must be something that you want to do with that money. But it's interesting because for a lot of people, I hear that though, like they want to do the job so that they can get all that money. So that, and I wish people would articulate that better.
Right, and then you wonder too, like, what have you given up in pursuit of that? Like, how many hours of your life, years of your life, did you spend putting off enjoying your life in order to accumulate massive wealth or whatever? I'm not massively wealthy, as you may know, but I can honestly say that every day I enjoy what I do, and I don't know if I would if I had some other more lucrative kind of job other than what I do. But even though I can't afford to, own a second home in the Napa Valley
or an island,
I also don't wake up every morning dreading where I have to be that day, which a lot of people do.
So we are shooting outside in New York, so anything could happen. I also don't know if, as we're talking, like people what might be happening. So I will see that in the editing process.
What if someone famous walked by?
I know, and we didn't even like.
Oh man,
it's the moment.
We didn't even freak out. Yeah.
What is your favorite part about New York?
Oh my goodness. I think my favorite part about New York. Oh gosh. I love seeing people kind of just going about their daily lives and imagining what my daily life would be like if I lived here. And I just like being in different neighborhoods and kind of planning out like, oh, I would live in that building, probably in the 3rd floor, and I would get my bread here, and then my fictional children that I don't have would play in that park, and then when they got older, we would go to that school for their basketball games. That's a fun game to play. I mean,
so we both, the last place we both lived was in Chicago. What's one of the things, if you missed anything about Chicago, what's one of the things that you miss?
Oh gosh, I miss the ethnic food. Where I live in Virginia, the food is very, the ingredients are like, everything is farm to table. The ingredients are so good, and the preparation is solid, but it's not what you would call like creative, you know? It's kind of standard, good American fare. I miss going to Ethiopian restaurants and Indian restaurants and Thai restaurants and just being like, oh, I'm going to just order some sushi at my apartment and have that delivered. Oh, God, I miss that.
I still haven't found my favorite Thai restaurant in New York in 2 years. I mean, I heard the best Thai places are in Queens, and I've gone to a few, but I still don't have, like, my favorite go-to place.
I miss the food, and I just miss the energy of the city too, and the idea that, you know, it's not as big as New York. There aren't as many people, but it's kind of the same vibe of anything can happen. And if you leave your apartment in the morning or in the evening, you could end up anywhere.
It's so true. I've definitely had that happen, both in Chicago and in New York, where on the Saturday, you know, I leave to go meet a friend for breakfast, and 1,000 things happen.
Yep.
And some of those times I didn't even make it home.
You don't make it home. Yeah, I miss that. You know, if you leave your home in Abingdon, where I live now, you're probably going to end up with Kroger.
Wait, with Kroger?
Yeah.
What's that?
The grocery store.
Oh, okay.
That's probably where you'll end up.